Hello everyone, I'm Justin, and for today's video, we're spiraling into horror. Yeah, you know we had to talk about this train wreck. Not only because of the final product, but the whole production behind it, as well as what it means for Junji Ito adaptations in general. But before we begin, here is a fair warning that I'll be talking about Uzumaki, its story and its ending. And with that said, let's move on with the video. So first of all, what is Uzumaki about? Well, if you have ever dipped your feet into horror manga, then you may have probably heard of Junji Ito, considered by many as the godfather of horror manga. And Uzumaki is one of his few serialized works, as he tends to mostly do one-shots. Well, Uzumaki follows a somewhat of a pattern in using the one-shot formula, but maintaining an overarching story, as we see the strange things that surround Kiri and Suichi in their small town. Now, the manga is well known for its incredible art and the use of Lovecraftian horror, and there were expectations for the anime. Not only because it took 5 years to make, being first announced in 2019, but because of Junji Ito's curse regarding adaptations. We have Gyo in 2012, Junji Ito Collection in 2018, and Junji Ito Maniac in 2023. First of all, there is Gyo, which is just weird. And honestly, the CG fishes didn't help either. Junji Ito Collection was actually my first introduction to Junji Ito. And I have to say that it had its moments. I personally liked the town with no roads. But for the most part, a lot of the art that made Junji Ito famous was not really depicted well into the anime. And lastly, we have Junji Ito Maniac. Again, it had a few moments. The story of the mysterious tunnel actually was scary. But then you had the kids transforming into ice cream or the unintentionally funny CG balloon people. Suffice to say, it was believed that it was impossible to adapt Junji Ito's works. But then, the first trailer came out. It was rough around the edges, but you could see a glimpse of what could be. A black and white art that actually gave me chills, and the potential to break the curse. This was further cemented with the second trailer. Guys, maybe, just maybe, the curse is broken. Junji Ito can actually be adapted. And adapted it was. First episode dropped, and after watching it, I could only say praises towards the animation. Yes, it had some small issues like the quick pacing that could have benefited from being a bit slower to help us get more on that unnerving feeling. But it had some damn good moments that were actually scary and disturbing. The uneasy feeling of the spirals. The unnerving moment when the mother cuts her fingertips. I had to actually look away there. And finally, when Asami reveals the spiral in her face. First episode was something special, and it really showed that Junji Ito's art can be translated into anime. And you know what? Everyone agreed. No matter who you ask on any internet forum, episode 1 was a success. It finally broke that damn curse. The future is looking bright. Or so we thought. Our happiness was short-lived. A second episode was a disappointment to say the least. If you thought that the pacing was an issue in episode 1, well, you have seen nothing, boy. Between the snail people, the random kid in love with Kiri, the couple trying to escape town, and the hair battle, you would be impressed to see that they even still had time to see the mother in the hospital. And yeah, all of this would just make into a bad anime that tried to juggle too many stories into a 24-minute episode. But that was the least of their problems. First of all, none of the stories were scary. The snake people could be considered a bit gross. The couple merging could be weird at most. But for the love of God, that hair growing battle was just downright goofy. For a horror story to unintentionally make you laugh, you know there's something wrong there. And when you think there couldn't be anything worse than this, they hit you with the animation. Through the episode we could see a downgrade from episode 1, but the moment that made everyone realize the gravity of the situation was here. That running animation. How could we move from an actually scary story with top-notch animation into whatever this was? We got some explanations from an executive producer on how they got screwed over and that they have 3 options: to shelve it, release only the first episode, or release everything as it was. They obviously picked the later one, but God, I wish they had only released the first episode. Anyway, episode 3 was a slight improvement on quality compared to episode 2, but the damage was already done, and the expectations were already shattered. People started to nitpick of every detail that made the anime bad and could not get away of the bad quality animation brand. And then we had episode 4, which honestly felt a bit better to me. At least they focused on a single story, and overall, the atmosphere felt a bit scary. Of course, without taking into account the Tornado Boys. And when I was about to say, well, I guess it wasn't that bad, the last 3 minutes of the anime hit you. First of all, the fucking PNG falling down the stairs. And just the overall atmosphere that, in my opinion, missed the mark and failed to depict Junji Ito's art. But the worst thing to me is not that Junji Ito's stories are unadaptable. The worst thing is that they are indeed adaptable, as we saw what could truly be done with a good team of animators. But it is simply that Junji Ito's adaptations are cursed. No matter how much we try, the money and time spent on it, it just feels like any adaptation is destined to fail. And that is the true horror of Junji Ito. And with that said, we come to the conclusion of this anime review. What do you guys thought of the anime? Let me know in the comments below. Until then, see you guys next time.